Africa is home to some of the world's richest natural resources. Sitting on a treasure trove of untapped potential, Africa has over 30% of the world's mineral reserves. No wonder Africa has been seen as the future of global supply chains.
But it's not just about the minerals. Africa's fertile land makes it the perfect place to cultivate a variety of crops, everything from cocoa, coffee and tea to cassava, maize and legumes. It's a market that feeds billions and offers huge growth potential for investors looking at the future of food security and agribusiness. By the way, my name is Hawa and I represent the western part of Africa.
And that's just the start. Africa's energy sector is rapidly evolving with abundant natural resources like solar, wind, and hydropower. The continent is positioned to become a global leader in renewable energy. Countries like South Africa, Egypt, and Kenya are already making significant strides towards energy independence and sustainability.
Don't even get me started about what makes Africans stand out. Of course, it's its people, the young, dynamic, and entrepreneurial spirit that is fueling the rise of technology and innovation. We are seeing incredible growth in sectors like fintech, e-commerce, and mobile technology. The continent's digital transformation is creating new opportunities for businesses and investors, and the pace is only accelerating.
Discussing trends, challenges, and opportunities available in Africa is what we discuss on Invest Africa Podcast.
Invest Africa Podcast.
You are Africans. We are Africans. Louder. We are Africans. Louder. We are Africans. Come on, Africans. Yeah. We are Africans. I can't hear you. We are Africans. Louder. We are Africans. Come on, Africans.
So whether you are a seasoned investor or someone looking to explore the emerging markets, the Invest Africa podcast is here to help you navigate this exciting landscape. Join us as we take you on a journey through Africa's abundant resources, thriving industries, and the game-changing investments that are shaping the future of the continent.
The Invest Africa podcast, shaping Africa's investment landscape.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another powerful session on the Invest Africa Group podcast. I am Mubarak, and as always, it feels incredible to sit behind the mic and share this deep, thought-provoking conversation with you. Every time we come on here, it's not just about talking, it's about understanding Africa through the eyes of Africans, peeling back the layers of our experiences and confronting the uncomfortable truth that shape our realities. So wherever you're listening from, Lagos, Nairobi, Joburg, or the diaspora, settle in because today's topic will make you think, reflect, and maybe even question a few assumptions you've held. As usual, I'm joined by Awa. Hi, Awa.
Hi Mubarak, hi guys. You already know it's always a pleasure having you with us. Every episode feels like a reunion with people who genuinely care about Africa, about Africa's growth, and about the people who carry Africa in their hearts no matter where they go. We are so glad you tuned in again because today's conversation hits close to home, emotionally and literally. It's personal, it's raw, and it's something that doesn't get talked about enough. We are going into what happens after the dream, when coming home isn't quite as simple as packing a bag and boarding a flight. This one's for everyone who has ever wondered where home really is.
Absolutely. In one of our previous episodes, Immigration Crossroads, how African migrant became political scapegoat, stirred a storm of reaction. We didn't just get comments, we got stories, listeners from Canada, Ghana, South Africa, and even France wrote in to share their journeys. The outbreak of starting over, the pride of representing Africa in foreign spaces, and the quiet struggle of balancing two worlds that often misunderstand each other. One listener said she replayed that episode 3 times because it reminded her of her father's migration stories from the 80s. That's what we love about this platform. It's not just a podcast, yeah? It's a conversation that connects art across
And some
borders.
of those messages really stayed with us. A few listeners said it completely changed how they viewed African migration, not just as physical movement from one country to another, but as an emotional journey of survival, of identity, dignity, and belonging. It's more than crossing borders, it's about carrying your culture, your faith, and your memories with you wherever you go. So, if you haven't listened to that episode yet, take this as a sign. It's one of those discussions that will stick with you, right? And it's a reminder that migration isn't just numbers and policies, it's people, faces, and untold sacrifices.
That's true. But today we are flipping the lens entirely, okay? We won't be talking about Africans abroad this time. Rather, we are turning the mic towards home. We're exploring what happens when those same Africans, filled with hope and ambition, decide to return. What does it mean to come back to a place that may have changed while you were gone, or worse, that no longer feels safe? Imagine saving for years, dreaming of giving back, only to land and think, did I make a mistake? That's the uncomfortable, honest questions many returnees are
And
silently
that's
asking.
why we've crafted today's episode carefully, called Safe or Sorry, Security Gaps and the Returnee Dilemma. Because this isn't just about safety in the physical sense, it's about emotional security, financial stability, and the feeling of belonging that many returnees crave but can't seem to find. We'll be unpacking stories of hope, frustration, resilience, and everything in between. So stay with us because this is one of those conversations that might just redefine how you think about homecoming.
All across Africa, from Lagos to Nairobi, from Joburg to Accra, and even smaller cities like Kumasi, Kampala, and Dar es Salaam, urban insecurity is slowly rewriting the story of return migration. What was once a narrative of pride, hope, and homecoming has begun to twist into something far more complicated. For many in the diaspora who dreamt of coming back to invest, reconnect, or retire, that dream is now clouded by fear, hesitation, and constant second guessing. Reports of carjackings, kidnappings, and burglaries have become alarmingly routine in neighborhoods once considered safe. You now hear stories of returnees building businesses that never opened, of families who moved back only to flee within months. The idea of homecoming, once a symbol of strength, is now being challenged by the harsh reality of insecurity on the ground.
Absolutely. A perfect example of that painful reality is the heartbreaking case of a British Nigerian expatriate tragically killed in early 2025 during an armed robbery in Ikoyi, Lagos, one of the city's wealthiest districts. I mean, you would expect one of the wealthiest districts to be security safe. Well, according to BBC News, March 2025, he had only been back for 6 weeks, full of ambition and goodwill. He was setting up a renewable energy company projected to employ 30 Nigerians, with partnerships already forming with 2 local universities. Friends described him as a believer in homegrown change. His death didn't just take a life, it shattered an idea. The belief that home would welcome you back with open arms. That single incident reignited conversations across the diaspora about whether the dream of returning to build Africa is safe at all.
Another story that feels close to home is the death of Somtochukwu, Arise correspondent, who schooled abroad, who had every opportunity to stay abroad, but decided to return back to give back to our society. Unfortunately, our life was cut short. The aftermath was immediate. Emotional turmoil. Diaspora WhatsApp groups, Telegram channels, and Facebook forums went into overdrive. I mean, you would see comment like, I'm canceling my relocation plans, or I can't risk my kids' safety. Within days, there were over 50,000 posts across Nigerian Ghanaian diaspora pages discussing relocation fears. But what's even more troubling is that this isn't an isolated case. It's part of a disturbing pattern. Similar stories are emerging from Accra, Kampala, Lusaka, even Addis Ababa. Every shocking headline chips away at trust, and every fearful conversation delays someone's decision to
And the
come home.
statistics also echo these emotions, yeah? In Nairobi, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics reported a 22% rise in fear of crime in 2023, marking one of the sharpest increases in the past decade. Meanwhile, in Johannesburg, the South African Police Service documented over 7,700 armed robbery cases between October and December 2024 alone. I mean, these aren't just numbers, they are stories of broken confidence. You can't be abroad and see something like this and want to come back home. Yeah, the common thread across these cities is fear, and that fear carries ripple effects. It affects where people invest, whether tourists feel safe visiting, and how willing returnees are to bet their futures on their home countries. Africa needs its sons and daughters back, but fear is becoming the invisible wall keeping them away.
Guys, you know what's heartbreaking about all these stories is that those that feel disconnected from coming back home aren't random investors chasing profit. They are people with vision, people who believe in Africa's potentials. They're doctors, engineers, creatives, entrepreneurs, individuals who could thrive anywhere in the world but choose to return because they want to contribute. Unfortunately, they find themselves battling poor security, inconsistent law enforcement, and systemic inefficiencies. In the end, the people who should be catalysts for progress are instead left feeling like strangers in their own countries. The message that's sent to others abroad is chilling. If it happens to them, it could happen to
So,
me.
talking about the economic ripple effect, of this phenomenon, we can talk about insecurity, right? When we talk about insecurity, it's easy to focus on violence, but the deeper damage is economic, right? Insecurities acts like a chokehold on growth. The African Development Bank estimates that Africa loses about 2.8% of its GDP every year due to insecurity-related disruptions. We're talking about supply chain interruptions to decline investor confidence. That loss translates to fewer jobs, fewer startups, and less innovations. And when you zoom in on regions like West Africa, the ripple effects multiply. Insecurity in one country spills over to its neighbors, affecting trade routes, border movements, and cross-border investments.
And I love talking numbers here. I love statistics. For Nigeria alone, that loss represents billions of dollars annually. According to the UNCTAD World Investment Report 2024, foreign direct investment inflows fell from $3.3 billion in 2021 to $2.1 billion in 2023. And insecurity was cited as one of the leading deterrents. Investors see headlines about kidnappings, robberies, or political unrest and immediately pull back. But it does not stop there, okay? Local investors too hesitate. When business owners start factoring security fees into their budget before production or staffing, it's a sign that the environment is suffocating entrepreneurship.
And it's not limited to Nigeria alone, right? Ghana's Beyond the Return initiative, which aimed to transform diaspora tourism into long-term investment, also faced hurdles. In 2024, Graphic Online reported rising complaints from returnees about land scams, burglaries, and inflated property deals. Even in East Africa, the Standard Kenya highlighted how rising petty theft and carjackings in Nairobi led to an 11% drop in international tourist arrivals in 2024. These figures reflect a larger problem. It shows that insecurity doesn't just steal money, it steals confidence.
Our confidence is the currency of development, okay, whether we like it or not. When people don't feel safe, they don't invest, they don't expand, and even they don't innovate. So insecurity isn't just a security issue, it's a development issue, a governance issue, and also a social issue, all wrapped into one. Until insecurity is addressed, the dream of a prosperous Africa built by its own people will remain just that, a dream struggling to survive in an unsafe
So
reality.
the question now is, Mubarak, why are cities so unsafe? Right? When experts talk about Africa's urban insecurity crisis, they often trace it back to four interconnected roots, each feeding off the other in a cycle that has been hard to break. First, urban inequality. As our cities swell with millions of new residents every year, poverty and unemployment rise alongside them. According to the UN Habitat 2024 report, over 60% of urban Africans live in informal settlements, where access to security, healthcare, and housing is fragile. When young people grow up surrounded by inequality, survival often replaces morality, and that breeds vulnerability. Second, weak policing. Nigeria's police to citizen ratio stands about 1 to 650, far below the UN recommendation of 1 to 450. And this isn't just about numbers, it's about trust, training, and logistics. Many police officers operate under poor conditions, without fuel for patrols or access to modern equipment, just to mention a few, right? Third is corruption, the silent killer of justice. Countless cases are settled informally because victims lose faith in due process. According to Transparency International, 70% of Nigerians believe police officers are corrupt, right? And lastly, judicial delay. Some criminal cases drag on for 5, even 10 years. And we know justice delayed becomes justice denied, and offenders walk free to offend again.
And while you said it all, and instead of addressing all these systemic cracks, one thing that is peculiar to African is that we adapt by building personal fortresses. Okay, across African cities, you see it everywhere: gated estates, iron fences, private security patrols, and electric wires crowning walls like warning halos. Just of recent, I was trying to move out from my apartment. I was trying to get a new place. And the first thing I was looking out for, because of my job, is a gated estate. Like, where I'm going to live, it has to be a residential area where the security there is top notch. That before anybody can come in, they have to get a pass from the main gate. That's really not fair on anyone. Okay, it's almost like we are designing our fear into our architecture. For the urban middle class, this has become the new form of insurance. Like, if the system can protect me, I'll protect myself. But all this comes at a very heavy social cost. Take, for example, cities like Lagos and Nairobi. Security now consumes up to 15 to 20% of household income, according to a 2024 urban safety study. It has become a lifestyle tax. Yet, while the weddings lay themselves behind the guards and surveillance system, the poor are left exposed. No fences, no alarms, no backup. This self-protection culture creates a quiet division. One city, two realities. It is survival for some, surrender for others.
And that's where the tragedy lies. As security becomes privatized, inequality deepens. The wealthy now live in highlands of safety surrounded by oceans and insecurity, Meanwhile, the lower class, I'm talking about street vendors, bus drivers, domestic workers, navigate daily risks just to make ends meet. It mirrors a deeper governance problem. When safety becomes something you buy, not something you are granted or guaranteed, the social contract is already broken. You can't build national unity on fear and fences. It's not sustainable. So the real question isn't just why our cities are unsafe, but why we've normalized it. Why we treat insecurity as weather to endure instead of a system to fix.
And that leads us to searching for solution, okay? I mean, every time conversations are raised in Africa, the first thing that comes to mind is hope. Yeah, hope isn't lost. That's the normal thing. An average African would say, and this is not even a cliche. Okay, we are beginning to see pockets of innovations across the continent. Take Lagos, for example. The Community Policing Committee, launched in 2024, brought traditional rulers, youth leaders, and residents into the same room with police officers to discuss local problems. It sounds simple, but it's not. Like I would tell you, it's groundbreaking for a system often marked by mistrust. Early assessments by Clean Foundation showed improved intelligence sharing and faster responses to burglary and assault cases in areas like Ikeja and Surulere. The idea is that when people see the police as partners, not predators, communities become safer by default.
And beyond Nigeria, there are encouraging examples too. Nairobi's Smart City CCTV network, rolled out in 2023, linked over 1,200 surveillance cameras to a real-time command center. According to Kenya's Interior Ministry, police response time improved by 15%, and incidents of pickpocketing in downtown areas dropped noticeably. Sure, it's not perfect. Technology has limits, but it shows what's possible when public infrastructure meets accountability. And then, of course, there's Rwanda, often cited as a model for structured policing. The National Crime Survey 2024 reported a 12% reduction in robbery rates, credited to its disciplined police structure and citizen reporting platforms. The difference isn't magic, it's consistency. When institutions are predictable, crime becomes risky again for criminals.
And the story doesn't stop with government. Across Africa, citizens are taking innovation into their own hands. In Uganda, Safe Border introduced a panic button app that lets riders alert nearby users in danger. In Nigeria, startups like Track Niger and Help Me Alert have built live location sharing systems for emergencies. Simple, efficient, and community driven. All these technology innovations are saving lives where institution lags. But even with this brilliant solution, there is a sobering truth. Technology can never and will never replace trust. You can install cameras, apps, and alarms, but if people don't believe justice will follow, fear will remain. Real safety isn't built on surveillance, okay? It's built on accountability. Until our systems are trustworthy, every improvement will feel temporary.
That's brilliantly said, Mubarak. I totally agree with you. And if you look at all of this, at the heart of it is one powerful idea: citizen engagement. Government can't secure cities alone, and communities can't thrive in isolation. Look at Ghana's police service reform plan, for example. This is for 3 years, 2023 to 2026. It's a great case study. It allows residents to rate police performance every quarter publicly. Imagine that, citizens having measurable input into how their security institutions perform. Early report from Accra shows officers responding more promptly, knowing their communities are watching. That's not just reform, that's culture shift, right? When citizens participate, security becomes shared responsibility and not just state monopoly.
I mean, that's powerful. Picture this: every neighborhood with a transparent scorecard for police responsiveness, integrity, and effectiveness. That changes everything. Accountability starts to flow both ways. The people become partners, not spectators. In cities like Kigali and Accra, these feedback models are quietly rewriting the relationship between the uniform and the civilian. It's what democracy should feel like, if you ask me. Not distant policies, but direct participation. Because when people see results tied to their voices, they stop waiting for change and they start driving it.
Exactly. And insecurity isn't just a government failure, it's a collective moral test. The system breaks when people stop believing they can fix it, yeah. When citizens stay silent, impunity thrives. But when they speak, document, report, and demand justice, they push the state to evolve. Look at the rise of civic tech groups across Africa. Platforms like Budget in Nigeria or Seisa Place in Kenya. They are proof that digital citizenship is a growing force. If every city combined grassroots vigilance with honest leadership, insecurity would have far fewer shadows to hide in.
But reflecting for a moment, here's a paradox we can't ignore. You know, we keep urging the diasporas to come home, to invest, to build, but we haven't built the safety net to make that possible. We invite them to a dream that sometimes isn't ready for the reality. Security isn't a luxury item. We add after development is the foundation development stands on. Without it, progress feels like building skyscrapers on sand.
And that's the heart of this entire situation, right? Safety shouldn't be a privilege for the wealthy or well connected. It's the baseline of civilization. Without safety, creativity suffocates, innovation stalls, and even hope erodes. Homecoming shouldn't feel like risk taking. Every African deserves to walk freely, to dream boldly, and to build confidently on their own soil.
And maybe I should end this reflection with a challenge for leaders to treat safety not as political promise, but as a social contract, okay? For citizens to stay vigilant and vocal, and for our diaspora to keep believing in safer, stronger Africa. One built not just on ambition, but on accountability, trust, and genuine protection for every life that calls this continent home.
Thank you for that, Mubarak. I mean, as a citizen, I would stay vigilant. Something that just crossed my mind while you were speaking is a trend that has been going on recently, especially in Nigeria, with the sales of this Ray-Ban glasses, the ones that have camera in it, right? And Nigerians, TikTokers just start using it. Recently, when police officers see you putting on their glasses, they just have this calm. Immediately they find you or using your phone to, take videos of them, they just come back to their senses and they treat you right. So I think that is one form of being vigilant. Yeah, just letting police officers know that you are actually videoing them or you're recording what they are doing to you, right? I think we could also always do that, right? So for now, right, don't go anywhere yet because we've got a quick round of trending investment updates from across the globe. So stay tuned.
You are Africans. We are Africans. Louder. We are Africans. Louder. We are Africans. Come on, Africans. Yeah. We are Africans.
All right, let's take a quick look at what has been making waves in the investment world. 6 key stories shaping the global financial landscape. And let me start from home right here in the city of Lagos and in Nigeria. Okay? In Nigeria, MoneyPoint, already a unicorn in Africa's fintech scene, announced the closing of a $200 million Series C funding round. I mean, the investment led by development partners, International's African Development 3 Fund, joined by investors such as Google Africa, Investment Fund, and International Finance Corporation, IFC, comes amid booming merchant payment and business banking adoption across the continent. Okay, the funding will accelerate MoneyPoint expansion across Africa and its service for diaspora users. Okay, this story is credited to Tech African News, and this move signals a strong vote of confidence in Nigerian-based tech diaspora finance flows and digital solutions. Okay, critical factors when we talk about returnees, investment, and trust in the home market. I'm so happy because of this news. MoneyPoint has been making wave for a while now. Their integration into the Nigerian market is phenomenal. And it's a model that needs to be studied and looked at. Big congratulations to MoneyPoint and Nigeria for that Series C funding.
I'm super proud of the team at MoneyPoint for putting us, in the spotlight always. Kudos to them. Right, in Luanda, during the Third Continental Summit on Infrastructure Financing, the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy announced a new $30 billion investment plan focusing on the single African air transport market, the SAATM, and connectivity across the continent. For returnees and investors, this means one of Africa's biggest pushback yet against the notion that my home country can't build or secure big projects. It's signaling scale, ambition, and return on infrastructure trust. This was released by the AU Press in the month of October 2025.
All right, let's move down to Southern Africa. And in South Africa, logistics sector is poised for a leap, okay? Because this is like South Africa's big play right now. South Africa's state-owned logistic heavyweight Transnet announced plans to invest approximately $7.3 billion. Yes, US dollars. That's approximately 127 billion rand over the next 5 years to modernize rail lines and port infrastructure. Okay, yes, this particular news is credited to Reuters for the month of October, and this level of commitment, my God, is a key return region matters. Yeah, it signals a stronger support loop for export, value addition, and therefore better prospect for returning investors seeking supply chain reliability.
In a major move for the green economy, African electric mobility company Spiro secured $100 million in new funding led by the Export Development Arm of African Export-Import Bank. Spiro will ramp production, expand battery manufacturing and infrastructure across Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Uganda. For returnees and diaspora investors, this opens a promising frontier, combining innovation with home market growth and regional scale.
All right, moving straight to the sector that I love talking about. Reason is because of its potential and it being a mining investment. Well, I call it a mining investment at the moment because this is like where you can put your money to work for you currently in Africa. And that's the real estate market, okay? This is concerning the Ghanaian's real estate market because several hundred diaspora investors gathered in Washington for the Ghana Property and Lifestyle Expo 2025, launched early October, showcasing Ghanaian real estate opportunities, including luxury apartments, serviced plots, and gated communities, okay? This development underscores the growing link between return investment and property market. A vital space for returnees seeking tangible asset at home, but one that also flags the need for credible governance and security around those assets.
Talking about mining, critical minerals mining now, yeah. Africa has made a move to unlock trillions. I know there are a lot of controversies surrounding the mining sector here, but across Africa, mining and critical mineral sectors are seeing fresh acceleration. For example, several sub-Saharan nations are aligning policies with global battery and renewables supply chains. Africa is positioning itself to capture value beyond raw extraction. In tandem with policy shifts and investor interest, returnees and diaspora investors now have another frontier, right? Mineral and strategic value industries at home. But of course, security, governance, and stability remain key to making those bets safe. So, everyone, thank you for staying with us this far. If you're just tuning in, we've been looking at how insecurity shapes the decisions of African returnees, whether to come back, invest, or just stay away and keep, hustling and praying for the country back home. And honestly, Mubarak, the stories are heartbreaking, but also eye-opening. Behind every statistic is a person who once believed they could bring change back home, only to be met with fear instead of welcome. These are people who have built lives abroad, but still feel that tug, that longing for their motherland. And it's painful when that love is answered with uncertainty, when, the same soil that raised them starts to feel unsafe. Yet, somehow, in the middle of all of that, you find resilience. Africans are reinventing security, writing what safe means on their own terms. And that's been the heartbeat of this conversation so far.
Absolutely, Awa. And this is where the story starts to shift from despair to defiance, from pain to purpose. Oh my goodness. I'm sounding poetic because, even amid the chaos that Africa is currently experiencing, there are those who refuse to give up. They're saying, if my home isn't safe, I'll make it so. These are Africans abroad turning their frustration into innovation. People using their networks, their tech skills, their social capital to build new models of safety from the ground up. They are not waiting for government promises anymore. They start engaging communities to own their protection. And, the diaspora using what they've learned abroad to reimagine homegrown security. For me, that's like open motion, and that's very powerful.
Exactly. And, it's not all gloom, right? And it's definitely not all loss. Take the story of Dr. Michael Okech, a Kenyan American doctor who came back to Kisumu in 2022 with a dream to transform healthcare access. But after being robbed twice while setting up his clinic, he could have easily packed his bags and said never again. Instead, Dr. Michael innovated. He installed solar-powered CCTV systems, created a volunteer network of community safety ambassadors, and trained local youths to protect both patients and property. He even linked his telehealth system with these safety hubs so medical aid and security could operate hand in hand. Within months, neighboring clinics also joined in. What started as one man's frustration became a community blueprint, and we'll always be proud of Dr. Michael's work in Kenya.
And one thing I can say is that particular blueprint worked, okay? Because that model was also replicated in Machakos and Eldoret. And according to the Standard Kenya, a report that was made in 2024, local crime dropped by 38% within a year. My goodness, that's not just numbers, that's lives made safer. It shows what happens when one act of courage sparks a collective shift. It's this kind of homegrown resilience that reminds us the fight for safety isn't just a government affair, it's a people movement. Every CCTV camera installed, every young person trained, every neighborhood alert, all these add up to a quiet revolution built on trust and
what
unity.
I love most is that it empowered the very people often left out of the conversation. I'm talking about the youths. We talk so much about unemployment being a security threat, but here's someone who turned it into a security solution by involving young people. Dr. Okech gave them a sense of ownership, a reason to protect what's theirs. The solution is community driven, sustainable, and deeply African in its approach because safety at its core has always been about the village watching over its own.
And Nigeria has its own stories, like that of Tomi Adesina, a US based architect who returned to Lagos in 2023 with vision to design eco friendly housing. After a breaking attempt at her office, Tomi did not run, okay? She organized. Together with nearby shops, she started a shared security fund. Not something much, but they hired a trained guards, fixed dark street corners with solar lights, and built a simple but effective WhatsApp alert system for emergencies. What started as a neighborhood self-defense became something bigger, a lesson in what shared responsibility can
And that
achieve.
initiative, now known as the Secure Lagos Collective, has caught national attention. The Lagos State Security Trust Fund is already studying it as a possible pilot for broader implementation. I mean, it's incredible how an act born out of fear became a city-wide conversation about safety. And that's the beauty of these stories. They start small, but they ignite transformation.
Exactly. It's a proof that when system fails, citizens don't always fold, they adapt. Across the continent, communities are learning to organize their own protection networks, share information faster, and make their spaces livable again. So whether it is Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, or South Africa, people are showing that you don't need to wait for reform to start being the reform.
That's profound. Speaking of Rwanda, Kigali's Neighborhood Watch app is such a fascinating case. Residents use it to report suspicious movements. It's like it's Africa